Hi everyone, welcome to this session. Today I will be showing you the secret sauce to winning a hackathon. My name is Angela and I am the co-founder and CEO of Hackathons International, and it is my pleasure to go through this session with you. Just a little bit of background information. I myself used to go to a lot of hackathons in my lifetime, over a decade ago now, and I've helped support over 500 hackathons, helping mentor, organize, facilitate, judge a lot of these. So hopefully all my learnings are in this presentation, as well as the Hacker Toolkit, which is available on our website, hackathonsinternational.com. So let's get to it. Now, if you want to follow on with this presentation, I highly recommend that you download our free template on the hacker mindset. So this is basically a template for you to follow along with this presentation, and you can follow the link by going to bit.ly/the hacker mindset template. It is case sensitive, so if it's a capital T, it's a capital T. If it's a small letter H, it's a small letter H. Otherwise, you can just scan this QR code, which is right in front of you, and all you need to do is put your email forward and the template will be ready for you to download. Now, I just wanted to share some inspiring words by Abraham Lincoln. And what I love about this quote is that for us, the best way to predict the future is for you to create it. You don't have to rely on solely other people, but really your future is in your hands. Now, in today's agenda, we're going to go through what is a hackathon, what should I look for when I'm recruiting team members, how to approach hackathons in general, and I'll tell you about the hacker mindset and the values that we encompass when it comes to participating in hackathons. And then the last thing is the secret sauce to managing a winning team. So at my first hackathon, it was a long time ago now, but it was such a great experience. I went in, I did not study IT or engineering or coding. Entrepreneurship was not even a thing when it came to university in my days. But it was for me a great opportunity to meet a lot of startup founders. I never even knew what a startup was. I thought it was a starter in bread, like some sort of yeast. I didn't know much about business skills, but all I knew was that I had a passion, and I had a passion around creating a sustainable future. So in this hackathon, the first one, I met all these people that I'd never met before. I'd never met Rachel. I hadn't even met there was this guy who was 11 years old when he first went to his first hackathon, and we came together. And the rich thing about hackathons is that it's okay if you've never been to a hackathon before. I found that hackathons have allowed me to gain confidence in my skills and also learn new skills. I learned about user experience and user design, and I absolutely love that. I learned a little bit about coding. It's not my specialty, but now I know what it's like to be in the shoes of someone who is a more technical person. And I found that my skill sets was around leadership, around strategy. So I really loved going through the whole hackathon experience. It's going to be up and down. You're going to be thrown into a lot of challenges, but again, you're going to meet all these amazing people who have the same values and same passions as you. And I really want all of you to take any ideas that you have, take any skills and strengths that you encompass, and share that openly with everyone, because it really is a great open community. So firstly, what is a hackathon? Now, a hackathon is a short pressurized process where ideas are designed, developed, deployed, and demonstrated. So it's really just like a lot of what we call like I remember once on Facebook, I put this question out and one guy said, oh, it's like a night out for tech geeks, which is pretty funny because it's really looking into how we can be really creative. We can put a lot of diverse mindsets and skill sets together and do something that is meaningful on this world and planet. So really we're here to create change that's meaningful and can create movements all around the world. So what actually happens at a hackathon? So during a hackathon, if this is your first one, this is some of the things that you'll be experiencing. The first thing is getting into teams. So you'll be meeting people that are strangers to you, but by the end of this, there'll be a massive sense of camaraderie around this. You'll make new friends, especially during these online experiences. You'll do a lot of empathy mapping. So you'll try to understand what it's like to be in the shoes of a customer. You do a lot of creative thinking. So thinking outside the box, thinking how you can be creative in a way that's blue sky thinking, or in a way that you can join different dots from different things together. And then the last thing is hacking solutions. And hacking to us is not about going through an IT system and exposing data. Yes, that is one form of hacking, but the second form of hacking is actually bringing ideas and breathing life into them. So what does a minimum viable team look like? Normally in a startup environment, we say a minimum viable team are the core skill sets required to start up a new project or to start up a new business. So generally you have the hipster, the hacker, and the hustler. So this is a framework. So you can say, some job descriptions here. So the hipster is the person who designs the user experience. They understand what the user needs are and solidifies and refines and defines the features and benefits for the user. The hacker looks into the APIs, looks into the technical aspects, and really creates the prototype. So they liaise a lot with the hipster as well as the hustler to ensure everything works. And the hustler is the person who looks into the business case. They look into the ecosystem, understand what the customer is willing to pay, as well as seeing how this will be really attractive to the judges at the end of the hackathon when you are presenting. Usually you have also a herder, and this is the person who is the leader of the group. And so it doesn't have to be the hustler or the hacker or the hipster, but really if you nominate someone who wants to improve on their leadership skills, this is where they come in. So what is the hacker mindset? The hacker mindset is a set of values that we speak about at hackathons. Ultimately, at hackathons, we want you to learn. So that means failing to learn whilst having fun learning. So what does this mean? Firstly, it means that you need to focus on the why. You need to understand where your passions are and why you are in this experience. Secondly, it's love what you do. Don't want this to be a draining exercise for you. Instead, we want this to be very energizing. We want it to be upbeat. We want everyone to be positive and really be in this for the right reasons. So, secondly, love what you do. A third thing is empathy rules. And empathy means that you're putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And this is not assuming what you want the customer to do and to be, but it's just really understand what they see, think, feel, and do. A stands for ask questions. So ask and be curious. It's always good to ask questions to mentors, to the organizing team, to facilitators, just so you can clearly understand what the problem statement is, so that you can respond with agility. So we don't want you to react, but we want you to understand the whole scenario and the whole environment so that you can respond in an agile way. And the last thing here is to network vigorously. What I do at hackathons and at a lot of events is that I listen to the speakers and I add them all on LinkedIn. I follow them on Twitter. I tweet them. I message them to thank them for their time. And also, I've used this as a real big base to accelerate my career. So what do I look for when recruiting teammates? So there are a couple of things that I look for. I look for a connection. I look to see how I can collaborate with someone. I see what I want to create, and also what are the commitments at stake when it comes to this hackathon. So a lot of the time when you're introducing yourself to other people, you can say, "Hi, my name is Angela. During the week, I run hackathons. And so my skill sets are in facilitation, in really understanding the customer journey and storyline. What gets me excited is if I see other people grow in their skills and I take a part in being part of their successes. And I'm here at this hackathon because I want to really learn about, say, machine learning and see how that could be integrated in hackathons. So this is an example of how you can do a quick hacker's pitch so that you are networking very quickly and rapidly with other people, and your objectives are communicated at a very simple way. So what is the goal of hackathons? A lot of the time with hackathons, we follow the design thinking methodology. And I really like design thinking in terms of how it portrays what ideas should go ahead and don't go ahead. So we always say ideas need to come at the right time, for the right people, um, during any kind of given time that is available. So we always say, is it desirable, is it feasible, and is it viable? So desirable means that will a customer actually use it um, and actually be freed from any experiences, so they feel like, oh, this is something that I'll actually use. Viability, is this something that the customer will actually pay for, and can you make a business case out of it? And the third thing is it feasible? So do you and your team have the skills to carry this forward? So whether that be the network, whether that be the technical skill sets, you need a bit of everything so that you're pitching yourself as a cohesive team to deliver on the project. So this is the Hacker Mindset template. You'll kind of receive a quick version of this, but I'm now going to go through this so that you know how to manage a winning team effectively. So the first phase is spot. So the three phases of the hacker mindset is spot, build, and go. So for spot, it stands for story, people, opportunity, and test. So for the story side of things, we want you to develop your own story that is emotive, compelling, and personal. So for example, in my experience talking to my grandmother, I found out that she found it really concerning going to the supermarket because there is just so many people with COVID going on right now. So now I try to ensure that anyone who is a senior citizen feels comfortable and safe when it comes to getting household supplies. So it's always good to hear when it comes to developing your own story, and not just your own story, but listening to all the stories for people in your team. It also shows that there's a personal touch to it as well. And one common thing when it comes to all the winners that we've interviewed during our winner spotlight interviews at Hackathons International is that all the people who win have a personal connection with the problem that they're solving for. P stands for people. So it's really important to take at least 5 to 10 minutes out of your time, especially at the start of the hackathon. So then you really understand who you're working with and who you're supporting. So I always tell people, always go around the table and say, you know, what is your purpose? So when I first started to go to hackathons, I really took it as an upskilling opportunity because I didn't learn about UX, UI, coding, entrepreneurship, business, investments, had no idea. So a lot of my purpose was around upskilling myself. It was also to network with the startup ecosystem because it was not an ecosystem that I grew around. My family very community oriented. So this network of building other people who also have the same mindset of me, who were really trying to think outside the box, that's a network that I wanted to engage with. I also wanted to win a lot of the prizes because there's good money on the line and there's also great programs available. And also to build up my portfolio because when I started doing hackathons, especially initially, I was trying to find a job in the IT sector, and that really propelled me to build a strong resume. And ultimately, at the back of my mind, I really wanted to start a startup in the future. passion. So what do you want to work on? So it's always good to know what you're passionate about, and it's okay if you don't know what your passions are or lie. You can always say, hey, I'm open to testing my skills and just learning new experiences, and that's still okay. Participation, it's always very good to be clear around when you are available and at what times and what skills you have to offer. So for example, if you're a student, you may have classes on at 3 to 4 p.m. on a Friday. If you're a parent, you might be available during the day, and because your children are at daycare, or you need to look after your kids at night. So just be mindful about everyone's environment and where their heads are at, and also say how you can help. So whether that be with the presentation, with user research, with creating the prototype, just be clear so that everyone is on the same page. And the last thing is personal development. With every good leader, they're really mindful of the people in their team and aware of what skills that they want to improve on. So I always ask people on my team, what do you want to improve on and how do you think I can help you? So things like, for me, as I said, maybe machine learning is something that I want to work on, creating bots, presentation skills, and mixed reality is something that's quite intriguing to me. So these are some things that you might want to think about. Okay, so stands for opportunity statement. And so opportunity statement is really an opportunity for you to communicate your innovation in 140 characters or less. So I actually studied a little bit of journalism at university, and they always told us to hop on Twitter and say that if you can communicate a newsworthy story within 140 characters or less, that's how you're going to capture the audience really quickly. So I encourage all of you to do this, and also include the who, what, where, when, how, and why. And it's so important to do this because if you are meeting mentors, if you're at a barbecue with family and friends, you can easily communicate and try running your elevator pitch to them. So for example, you might say, your opportunity statement might be, I want to make everyone who is a senior citizen feel comfortable at home with a specialized delivery service. So doing that makes it really easy for you to just pitch, 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 and pitch. And once you get it right, you can tell everyone, and it'll be a good way so that when it comes to that final presentation at the end of the hackathon, you would have practiced a lot. The last thing is to test. So testing means that you are running some hypothesis, you're doing research and pivoting if you need it to, if you need to. So this is a little bit like a science experiment, you could say. So I always go, okay, what are the assumptions? We kind of have that opportunity statement. We spend 5 minutes writing all the assumptions down, and then another 5 to 10 minutes going through Google, looking into data and seeing what is out there. So when COVID-19 hit, we had quite a few assumptions, surprisingly, and a lot of people were participating in hackathons. And what I found was that a lot of people were assuming a lot. So they were assuming that the majority of elderly got coronavirus. There was an assumption there was not enough food for Australians, especially when all our shelves had no flour, no nothing. But when I really looked into it, Google actually taught me a lot of things. So the data, for example, I found was that early findings from China, which pertained to the first 17 people to die in the outbreak, revealed that the median age was 75. And a study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that the median age of the first 425 people infected with the virus was 59. So as you can see, this first assumption was validated. However, when it came to the second assumption, I actually found that according to the National Farmers Federation, imported food only accounts for 15% of daily supply. About 2/3 of Australia's produce is exported, meaning we make plenty more than we actually consume. And for farmers, it's pretty much business as usual. So it's really funny here because then you had to kind of pivot and go, okay, is it actually not enough food for Australians, or was there something wrong with the supply chain of food in Australia? So this is a really good way for you to just understand, with the ideas that you have, is it worth pursuing or not? So, second phase of the hacker mindset is to build. So, here I always put somewhere on a whiteboard or right smack bang on my screen. I go, what is the goal? What do we want to develop over the period of the hackathon, whether that be a specialized delivery service or whether that be an aggregation of supermarkets or whatever else it is? You need to define something that is achievable. Secondly, it's to put the pitch date and time. I always have a good countdown so I know how much time I have left, and I put my time in blocks, which I'll show you a little bit later, just so I've got some sprints and I can check in regularly with team members to see how we're going and we can work cohesively as a team. The third thing is a communication platform. So this is a good opportunity just to see how we communicate as a team because there are just so many communication platforms out there. You really need to identify how you'll communicate as a team. And if you have urgent tasks, do you have each other's numbers so you can call people? So what is the process? The next thing is criteria. So it's so pivotal to know what the judging criteria is because a lot of the time as an organizer and as a judge, I mark you out of 5 out of each of these. So make sure you have that honed in when it comes to putting your solution together. And then the last thing here is check-ins. So I always have check-ins with everyone on the team. It's kind of like a really quick sprint, you could say, every 2 or 3 hours. But generally, what happens is we talk about the 3 Ds. So firstly, we discuss what each person has achieved over the last um, time block. Secondly, we talk about the destination. So what do we want to achieve by the end and what is our end goal? And then after that, we look into the direction. So we reflect on what we need to start, stop, and restart. And doing this in a way that's ongoing is really important. So you also not only concentrate on your work, but you can also empathize and know what else is going on in the team because ultimately it is teamwork. Now, this is one of the favorite slides of a lot of people at hackathons. This is my schedule and timetable when it comes to participating in the hackathon. And this is really good because everyone has their roles within a hackathon. It's never a one person, like it's so hard for one person to just do all these tasks. Like if you do that, kudos to you. And I know a lot of people who do it. But really, if you want to maximize your time, you really need to harness the strengths of everyone in the team. That's why you have the hustler, hipster, and hacker kind of frameworks so that will help you understand who will do what when. So normally on a Friday, everyone completes the hacker mindset or the spot side of things, and then we conceptualize the idea, do a lot of research, really find what's feasible in terms of the data and the APIs that are present for the hackathon. Then we need to agree on a final problem statement and also that minimum awesome products. So that minimum awesome products or prototype that you're going to display at the end of the hackathon. After that, everyone's doing their thing, whether they're getting customer feedback, scripting, filming, designing the wireframe, testing it out with the users, creating that working interface with all those added features, and also looking to the front end builds, connecting those APIs, aligning with all the features and making sure the prototype works. And at the end, don't forget to celebrate and really applaud yourselves for what you've achieved over the hackathon duration. I mean, a lot of the time we kind of just sit back and watch Netflix, but just imagine if you can actually create something out of nothing with a short amount of time. It is a massive success and everyone's a winner, not just the people who get the awards. Please be mindful of that. So the last thing and last phase is the go stage, and that stands for growth and optimization. So when you do your hackathon, make sure you have in mind how you're going to grow your business. And a lot of people forget about this. They forget what the return on investment is. They forget the go-to-market strategy. They forget around what the financial model is. So if you go through this really quickly, understand the customer, who you're targeting, what value that you're providing to them, creating some assets, video content, posters, or whatever, like brochures and that kind of thing to demonstrate that value to the customer. Hone down on the strategies and the channels that you're going to take, whether that be through online, through partners, through a partner program, for example. There are a lot of tactics that you can use. And also, what is the call to action? So when someone is a customer, they're hot and they're ready and they want to get your product, how do they actually get their hands on it? Make sure you put that as their next step. For O, this stands for optimize. So optimize means that you're always optimizing and continuously improving on the product that you are building. So normally if you work in the innovation landscape, so I used to head innovation at Schneider Electric in Pacific, we talk about the 3 horizons of innovation. So horizon 1 being the core business. So it's ongoing research and development, looking to new features, new products, ways that you're going to improve how you sustain your business. Horizon 2 is all around growth markets. So how can you use your existing resources to tap into new customers, look into new territories, and look into new, more target audiences? And Horizon 3 is more disruptive. So what are the new capabilities, maybe new investments or businesses that you're going to spin out to really complement what you do in the ecosystem? An example of how a company has done that is Disney. So their core business is, you could say, developing movie characters and creating movies. Their growth market is all around, for example, Disneyland and going to the theater. They've got the movie characters and films in different kind of experiences. So they're attracting people who are young, people who are teenagers, people who are adults like me. And then their disruptive business was when they launched Disney Plus. And that's when everyone had to pay a subscription model instead of you going and paying a movie ticket fee. You're paying a service fee or monthly reoccurring fee so that you've got access to all these films and animations and series. So that's very interesting to see how Disney has done it that way. So in summary, I just want to remind everyone that hackathons are for everyone to attend. Just like myself, you do not have to be in coding or IT or be a super nerd or anything. You just need a passion about something and really have a mindset of learning. So that's failing to learn whilst having fun learning. So don't forget, if you really want to win, the secret sauce to managing a winning team is to spot the opportunity, understand what you're going to build, and go. So reach out to your customers and tell them and amplify your value to them. So all of this is part of the Hacker Toolkit. You can access this on hackathonsinternational.com. So the first thing that we went through today was around team management. There's also other templates that you can access on rapid ideation, business models, lean canvas, and how to pitch like a pro. So what I want to leave you all with is that I want you to ride the wave, catch the wave, and make waves. We're here to not just be observers, but we're here to be hustlers. We need to be proactive and make a meaningful change for everyone in this world, for our planet to be sustainable and livable. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me. We are on Facebook. Our Facebook group is where all of our hackathon enthusiasts around the world talk and publicize hackathons. We're on Twitter, so you can get up to date with the news that's happening around the world. We're on LinkedIn as well. On YouTube, you can actually watch all the winning presentations of hackathons all around the world, just to give you an idea of what you could come up with. And also we interview all the winners. So, you know, you can get some insights and also get some tips and tricks from them. Visit our website. There'll be a list of hackathons for you to enter, and you can also access the Hacker Toolkit. And if you need any help, feel free to contact me at angela@hackathonsinternational.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy participating in hackathons. Happy hacking, and I'll